Black Panther Wakanda Forever is in theaters now, of course. I just saw it and I've got a lot of thoughts on it. I wanted to really dive into some spoilers, talk about characters, talk about the story, talk about the ending, and everything else in between. It's going to be a little bit of a long video, but if you've ever seen some of my other content of this nature, you're already used to that. We're talking full-fledged spoilers. If you have not seen the film yet, when you get back, come check it out. Okay, let's get started here. So obviously this film was given a very difficult task. Ryan Coogler had to change this film to work alongside the tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman, who was fighting cancer. It was very emotional knowing this. That's why this film took a little while. Black Panther Wakanda Forever did succeed at respecting the tragic passing of this actor. The film did a really good job at honoring him, and I absolutely love that. Right from the beginning, we get a scene where Shuri is doing everything in her power to find a way to save her brother, who is sick. We don't know what this sickness or illness is. Ultimately, we never do. This scene was strong, and then of course it led to a very sad word from Queen Rwanda that he is with the ancestors. And then we get a really beautiful opening. All the MCU films always show different characters, maybe they play different music, depending on what might be relevant to the film and how they're gonna really get it started. This opening is just simply silent. There's no sound, and it shows this character, T'Challa, Black Panther, shows Chadwick Boseman, and it honors him in a very beautiful way. So I think that makes sense to start off the film like that. And as we go through this almost 3-hour film, we see the continuation of just honoring and respecting this actor's passing, and the way they did it was very strong. I cannot complain about that. I think it was a tough task, and I'm happy with the result. It was a very good sequel, too, to Black Panther, really. I think it followed up the story of who the Wakandans are. It followed up this beautiful, very intelligent, advanced world. This world of Wakanda has something very precious in vibranium, and other nations are looking to get vibranium. They want to find it wherever they can find it, and they want to use it. And of course, it's political, and I think it works really well. I like this. I liked it in Civil War. I liked it in Black Panther. I want to see more of it as well in the future. It makes so much sense if a country who was unknown for years came out of the shadows. They're more advanced than anything anyone's ever seen, and they have a metal that is unlike anything, and it can do so many crazy things and create weapons and everything. Of course, other nations are going to be interested in it. So it makes sense that this film follows a storyline where the UN is dealing with some controversy here, and they're trying their best to find vibranium. Some of the people who are looking for vibranium almost get it, and then they get attacked by some strange blue people from the water. And then this introduces us to what I would have called Atlantis, because in the comics, I guess it is Atlantis, but I heard that they're like not allowed to use that legally, maybe. Talokan. I really liked what they did with these characters, this world. I want more of it. I mean, obviously our main antagonist in the film is Namor, or he says Namor. Very fleshed out, dynamic character, badass, and someone who we're going to get to see more of, because obviously in the end he does not die. I definitely liked the ongoing conflict here. There's two ways they're going to go about this. Either A, there's going to be a war, or B, there's going to be an alliance between Wakanda and Talokan. So, of course, the Wakandans aren't interested, especially because they find out that the intentions are not very good from Namor. He really just wants to take over because he's doing it to protect them. He's doing it to protect who he cares about and his people. He's been doing it for many, 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 many years. As a result, this antagonist is justified in many ways. And I think it's most apparent once you start to see the backstory, seeing where Namor came from, seeing what he's been through, seeing how he established himself as the leader and people see him as a god. He does care for his people underwater. He cares for his nation, and they also happen to have vibranium, and they don't want all these other nations from the outer world, from the real countries, they don't want people coming after them. That's how it's been. He's not making these things up. He's speaking from experience. Very realistic in many ways to see a nation being attacked and enslaved and everything by others, especially, this is a foreign nation here. This film deals with some of those kind of real world issues in a very interesting way, where it's fiction, but it's pulling from real things in many ways. I think it was well done. I like this character a lot. I mean, I hated him in a way because I think he was acted so well as the villain. Tenoch Huerta is the actor who played as Namor. He really delivered. The performance was good. It worked really well for me. The Talokan and its people, everything, and the conflict that continued to grow and continued to worsen between Wakanda, and then of course they ended up drawing blood, and that was it. And then he was pissed and he sent his people after Wakanda. I liked the finale and the fight between all of them. A lot of really standout moments in terms of action and set piece and everything. And in the end, the conflict was concluded. It was solved, but not quite how either would have liked it. Namor believes he knows what he did. He knows why he did it. Of course, Namora and others around him in Talokan underwater probably don't see why he would have surrendered. Things are going to happen down the road. I'm sure we're going to get another Black Panther story, another Wakanda story. We're going to maybe get a Namor story. I'd love to see a series about Talokan and him. And I'm sure we're going to see, more conflict between them and other countries across the world. And I think it makes sense when he says that people are going to continue to go after Wakanda for their resources and because of who Wakanda is as a country and a nation. And then they're not talking about Talokan. They're not talking about these Atlanteans. I'm going to say Atlanteans, Atlantis, whatever. They're not going to tell anyone. So ultimately, everyone's still going to think that Wakanda is the bad guy, so to speak. They're going to still see them as a threat, potentially. And maybe the alliance will establish. I think that could be really cool. So yeah, that's my thoughts on like the Atlantis aspect of the film. Was very excited going into it and very happy with the end results. Of course, there is also the story about Riri Williams. She is very important because she is the one who created the technology that was able to find vibranium. She's absolutely brilliant and only 19 years old. She's been doing it for all of her life, building stuff, working on equipment and machines. And she created a suit of armor that's basically like Iron Man. Very cool. Her final suit. I'm kind of now am excited to see Ironheart because I think she's a likable character and I want to see a dynamic between her and potentially Shuri again, maybe. I'd love to see more of that. But I'm excited to see what her upbringing is, some backstory, and also how it plays into everything else in the MCU, of course, in the end. But yeah, Riri, not too bad. I liked her. I mean, she is young and naive, but she's brilliant, and it made for a very creative character here and someone who got a chance to shine. And I think she has all this young energy in her and she loved that. So pretty cool stuff. I guess she's always going to be at risk as well from Namor, really, because ultimately he wanted to have her killed and that never happened. So we're going to definitely see more of all these people for sure. I liked Riri though. The most important thing, I think, I wanted to kind of cycle back to this in the end, is to just talk about Shuri, to talk about Wakanda. Shuri had a ton of character development. This film, I think Letitia Wright did an excellent job in this main role. Of course, she was a side character in the first Black Panther. She was important, but she really had to step it up this time around as they wrote her to be the main lead. She now is Black Panther. Such strong character development. She went through all the stages of grief. The MCU has done some pretty good stories about grief over the last couple of years, really past Endgame. And I think that this film might have done the best yet. So I'm really happy with the results here. I think that Shuri was having such a hard time with grieving. She didn't know what to do. She had all this technology and brilliant mind herself, and she kept just, working on things like that and trying to not think about her brother T'Challa's passing and not grieving properly, and it's not healthy. And then, this film explores that really well, when in the end she actually burns the garments and everything to show that it's real. Her acting is just so on point. I mean, the emotional acting was excellent. I think that a lot of these characters, mainly our main characters, especially in T'Challa's family, you could see it that they had real emotion in real life because the actors losing the actor, in Chadwick Boseman. I feel like it's not so much acting as it was real, the tears and the feeling that emotion was definitely real. And it really added to the whole experience of this film and watching these characters and everything. So I think that was just done so well. And I really am happy that Shuri became Black Panther. And I like when she went to the ancestral plane. That was really, really strong because they did it in Black Panther. It was part of the story here. So now she got to do it. And her seeing Killmonger really messed with her. It was it was hard for her because she wouldn't want to tell anyone. You saw it. She was like, every time they asked her who she saw, she said nothing because Killmonger was the villain. But, he was a character who in many ways is relatable. One of the strongest antagonists the MCU's had yet. It was just an awesome cameo to get Michael B. Jordan there as well. And Killmonger, I wish he didn't die in a way, really, because I would have liked to have seen more. But hey, maybe we will now that he's, in the ancestral plane, and of course multiversal stuff too, as we got him in What If, right? So Killmonger kind of tells her that she could be like her brother, or she can be like him, suggesting that he actually takes care of business. He's saying, vengeance, it's tough. It's hard not to be consumed by it. That's kind of how Shuri talks about it. And I love that she essentially quoted T'Challa, talking about how she was being consumed by it, but she won't let that happen anymore. In the end, she makes the right decision. She could have very easily, I think, killed Namor, but she chose not to. She is not like that. She's not Killmonger. She's T'Challa. She's like that. So she's a hero of Wakanda. That means we'll get to see, more dynamics between Talokan and Wakanda, like I talked about before. I think Shuri knows why she made that decision. I think that she does not regret it. And yeah, overall, I think this film just told a very strong narrative. I think it was written well, and the acting from everybody, truthfully, was really on point. It continued to expand the whole idea of Wakanda as a nation and what they stand for, who they are, and of course their vibranium and what that means for other countries as they all want it. I'm kind of excited to see more international conflicts unfold in the future of the MCU that could be in a Wakanda TV series, I believe I've heard could be in development, maybe a Namor show or something else, who knows. I definitely want more of Wakanda, obviously, but I also absolutely want to see more of Talokan or Atlantis. So this film succeeded. It was enjoyable, entertaining. It didn't really try to be that funny. It had some good jokes here and there, as the MCU does, but it was serious, and I think it delivered on that way. It should have been serious. I wouldn't have really been happy if it wasn't serious, truthfully. It respected Chadwick Boseman. It tributed him super well. It was beautiful in that way. The score was really nice. All the music and sound design was just on point. Seeing these people from Atlantis or Telecon being kind of scary and being very powerful forces to be reckoned with just leads me to be more excited for the future of them, to see Atuma and Namora and Namor and everybody else. And also, of course, Wakanda is going to be different now. Sure, he's the new Black Panther, and I'm happy with that. I cannot wait to see, where they go from here. But the character development, very, very good for Shuri. The narrative was fleshed out. It was beautiful. The story, I really enjoyed it. Scoring, visually, action and everything. Awesome movie. I think this probably is the best thing the MCU had in 2022 because they've been a little all over the place, both in films and TV shows, but I don't have a lot of negative things to say about this film. So yeah, here's to the MCU possibly redeeming itself after a shaky year or two. So that's going to be it for me. I know I talked a lot, but hey, this is a spoiler talk. I didn't want to cut anything important out. Check out my TikTok. I'm going to leave you guys a link in the description below if you want to see a shorter form video of this, just a quick couple minutes of a rundown, spoilers as well. And I also post some other stuff on this channel about Marvel, and I'm going to probably rank the Phase 4 shows and films, maybe rank all the movies, talk about what's coming up next, all that good stuff. So it's going to wrap it up. I appreciate your time here, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. So please share me all your thoughts in the comments below about Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. And it's going to wrap it up. I'll see you guys all in the next video.